ready.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Inimitable Podcast. I am your host, Jermaine Harrison. I am a licensed mental health counselor, mentor, visionary, transitional life coach, but more importantly, I am a Neuro Spicy black sheep. Inimitable means something that is so unique it is impossible to duplicate. This pod is for the Neuro Spicy who are building mental wealth without a blueprint. Every guest here, we're going to talk about some of those topics that other people don't want to talk about, but we're going to talk about it, whether it be about motherhood, black men, whether it be about joining the force and being a mental health advocate. Either way, we're going to talk about it. So with that being said, thank you for coming. And if you're here, it's because God needed you here. I hope you enjoy this episode, and I will see you soon. Bye. Hi. Hello, all. Welcome. This is episode 12. This is good times. We are excited. We are here. And I can't believe I made it to 12 episodes. I say this every episode, but I'm just like, this is crazy because I don't know how we're here, but the good Lord assigned it to me. So, I am very excited today. What you guys don't know is that me and Tanya have been on this thing for at least, 30 minutes prior to. And when I say in tears, but you will see why. Stick around. But let's see. I have met Tanya maybe 2 months ago, if that. And when I say instant click, like instantaneous, right? Because she's a Neuro Spicy person, I'm a Neuro Spicy person. And, Neuro Spicy recognize Neuro Spicy, right? So Tanya is an IT specialist and she has her own business, Creative Hues, and she will tell you all about what Creative Hues is. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Tanya.
Hey y'all, hey! Hi everybody, my name is Tanya Oliveira. I'm the founder of Creative Hues, and it is to destigmatize mental health within the Black and Brown community through expressive outlets. So that whether that's drawing, painting, creative writing, anything that you can think of that's a creative outlet, that's what I do within my mindfulness workshops. And it's really to help individuals turn their pain into power and give it a new purpose.
Come on, mission statement. I love
it. I had to have it on. You had to. I had to have that elevator pitch down.
I'm about to say, girl, you better than me, because when I say they're like, so tell me about Fighting Chance, I'm like, so it's a counseling business. It's like the working up to it. I'm just like, oh Lord, I sound insane. But yeah, I love that. So in your quest of starting Creative Hues, I feel like we have to go back to the beginning. You know what I mean?
Bro.
Because, like, first of all, I said this on one of the reels I just did. Like, to be an entrepreneur, something got to be loose up here. Because who signed up for this? I did not willingly sign up for any of this. And I'm just like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? And so it's very, very difficult. So how did we get to Creative Hues?
Well, I was sitting in delusion. No, I'm just playing. But no, you do actually have to have a level of delusion to believe in yourself. Like, hey, I might not have anything all set in concrete, but the one thing that I do have is my dream. And so I turned that dream into a reality by God's wonderful grace and by walking by faith and not by sight. He just put everything into motion. So it really, when I really look back, when did Creative Hues start? Was about 6 years ago. It was that's when it was like in the womb, we'll say, but in my mind, we'll say it for real. And it was from me, and I do not use the word survivor or victim. Like, I'm neither of the two. I'm a conqueror of my freedom. So when I was becoming free, of domestic violence, I had to go to all of these different organizations and agencies and tell my story over and over and over again and again. And each time that you have to tell it in that fight or flight, phase of your life, it's very traumatic because you are there. It's like they're constantly making you relive the most traumatic time in your life. And then you start feeling like, well, I don't know about for everyone, but I know that how I felt like a piece of paper. I did not feel like a person. I felt like I was helping them to meet some quota, I was a number on a piece of paper. And do you even believe me?
Yeah.
I didn't look like my struggle. Like if you see how I look right now is how I look, then. I didn't look like, this woman that had been through domestic violence or that was trying to figure out how to make things different for her children. I didn't look like any of that. I came in with the same look, and you wasn't gonna see me looking like my struggle. But yes, I was in the darkest place of my life. And I remember them, on multiple different occasions because on paper, I looked like I should have been financially stable, or, oh, well, you're getting paid X amount of dollars at your job. And, you present yourself well, and and you speak so well, and you look nice. Like you're not really going through anything. And so it made me feel like, well, you don't even believe me. I should just go back. But I remember because I had so much, I had family support, but I also refused to go back. Like I refused. I was like, I don't care what I got to do. I'm leaving this situation. So and this was right before COVID hit. So I had gotten my own place. I had to, it was a lot. I'm skipping, but we'll just go right into COVID. And COVID hit, and the world shut down. There was no, I still see a different therapist now, but I had a therapist, and I would go to see her not in person, but I would talk to her regularly and tell her everything. And finally I told her the real truth. Like, this is my actual truth. And I had been seeing her maybe, I don't know. I had been seeing her when I started seeing my then therapist. It was 2 weeks before my abuser put a gun to my head and thought that my life was his to take. And when I started seeing her, I was like, I don't know who I am. Like, I have no clue who I am. At that point, I was at the end. Like, he had been in full control of me at that point. But something in me let me know that I had to go to a therapist. Like, girl, you need to talk to somebody. Even if you're not going to be honest about everything, you need to at least talk to somebody so that you can start sorting out your thoughts, because it's just a debacle. In my brain, mixed chopped cheese. And so fast forward back to COVID, like I finally had told her the truth. And that moment of telling her the truth, it was the breaking point for me, because I needed to say something, but that wasn't enough. So I began, and then COVID happened. And then really, I didn't even talk to her the way that I wanted to, because she was home with her family too. So she had to, it was like everybody kind of shut down from the things that were like business, and you had to deal with your own business. And so I turned inward, and I've always been one that believed there's no need to feel sorry. No, girl, you're not a survivor. You're a conqueror. You're a conqueror.
Yeah, it is.
Somebody told you that you're a survivor. That's somebody else's term for you. That's somebody else's narrative. You can make your own. And so that's I chose to say conqueror, because no one will ever be able to tell me what my narrative is again. And if I do consent to a narrative, and if I'm gonna tell somebody else about their narrative, then I'm going to call myself a conqueror. So you didn't become a survivor. You became a conqueror of your freedom, because you are free right now.
That's so
good. And nobody can tell you anything about where your life is supposed to be. So, but anyways, And so, I had to turn inward to myself and kind of just say, okay, let me journal. So I would write everything. I mean, when I say everything, I was writing Dear Tanya letters to myself. And I had been writing the Dear Tanya letters since I was 16. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then adulthood happened and I forgot about it. And then I started writing to myself again. And so I would write myself a letter. They could be short, they could be long. One day I remember, and it's like the one of those key things. I don't know what happened that day. I think I was just in the emotion of it all. And I was like, I'm feeling dry, like I'm burning inside like fireflies or fire ants on a hot day. And I just wanna kill everything moving. And that's just how I felt that day.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it was just smile,
Yeah.
and the whole thing on the whole page. And
Yeah.
so I wrote, and then I started to do other little exercises. And like, I would write these letters to, the abuser. I would write it to because I went through abuse twice. And so both of those abusers were both of my daughters. They were abusers in two different ways. One was physical, and the other one, well, they were all the spectrum, but the two major things was one was physical and the other one was mental abuse until
Mm-hmm.
the end when he became physical.
Yeah.
And so, um, I started writing things down and I would write them down and then I would do different exercises and I would burn my papers. I would drown the papers. I would create these like beautiful pieces of artwork. I would smash plates and scream in my backyard or scream at a park. Nobody's around me. I would write letters to my father. I would write letters to my mom. I would write letters just, to people that had affected my life
Mm-hmm.
because it's not like I experienced domestic violence and it was just because. No, I experienced it because I'm a child witness of domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so in reality, I thought that that was what love was. And so that's why I allowed it once and then a second time. And, COVID happened again. And I went through all of that. And about, early, sometime 2 years ago, I want to say, the foundation that I went to that helped me to vacate with my children, I went back to them about 2 years ago and let them know that I had hit an anniversary date, and I just wanted to give them the flowers because had it not been for their organization, I would have never been able to vacate. I would have never felt safe, and I didn't feel seen, and they were the first people that made me feel seen. And so I went to them and just really thanked her, which was a Black woman who was a founder. And it's called Love Life Now Foundation, and they help women and children vacating domestic violence. And I actually became the community engagement director. So I'll let y'all know about this bucket hat in a second. But and so, you know, that was my first moment of being free, like really telling somebody my story. And being a part of the board last year, I was able to attend our yearly gala, and the founder, her name is Laverne, she said, well, I want you to speak today. I want you to speak during the gala. I was like, oh, okay, girl, you want me to like present like somebody's gift or something? She's like, no, girl, I want you to speak. I was like, speak where? What do you want? What do you want me to do? And she's like, I want you to tell your story. And it was the first time that I stood in front of a room over 100 people, and I read a Dear Tanya letter. And that was the moment that I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go for it. I was like, I'm gonna take a little leap off this ledge. I'm gonna do I'm gonna launch my business. And she was like, go for it. And then I met all of these people after. Like, I don't know if I felt like it was God that was like, yes. She go to the path that I have for her all this time.
Yeah.
And he opened the door, and I walked through the door, and there was like 5 doors. And I opened each one of the doors, and each one of the doors had 5 more doors. And it's been like that for the last year and a half. That is just door after door after door. And I'm just so thankful that I decided to take that leap of faith that choice of like, I'm choosing me, and I'm
Mhm.
gonna let God guide me through these steps. So, being able to do this and just have other people be able to talk about their emotions in that way, where it doesn't have to feel heavy. It's not. I'm not a therapist.
Right.
You know, like we said earlier, I'm not therapizing. I am just helping people to see the best version of themselves through expression, through their own expression, and taking control over whatever their pain is. Whether it could just be as simple as, I went to work today and that person pissed me off.
Mhm.
Let's go ahead and take all that emotion. Let's turn that into something else. Let's turn that into something more purposeful. Let's give it a different power, because right now you're giving it a power that it doesn't deserve. And so let's give it a new power. And so that's basically what my workshops are all about. It's what my conversations are about. And yeah, so that's a long and short, because I could still go, because I could talk. I could talk.
No, you said a lot of good things, and which is interesting, right? Because when I approached Tanya on like, so what do you want to talk about? But I knew she had me on here because I was like, you Neuro Spicy and I'm Neuro Spicy, and we got to be spicy together, And the first thing you talked about was love languages. Now, whether it's going to be for partners or for friends, you was like love languages. And hearing your story, like, I don't think you understand how difficult it is to, first of all, love self again, yet alone love and trust other people after experiencing the things. Because when I tell you, some people, they got walls up for days. They're like,
Yeah.
these walls are like 3 brick deep, 12 feet high, like you're not breaking through it, right?
Yeah.
And so the fact that you're able to find love again for self first and then for other people, and then, for your kids, like that is so big.
And
So
for my husband. Let's not forget
the shimmy.
real love.
Y'all listen, don't mind us. We gonna have a good time here. We gonna be serious and have our conversation.
I hope that y'all are dancing along with us when we pop out in our neuro spiciness with song and dance.
Because it's gonna happen. Absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So when we talk about love languages, right? I think there's a difference between love languages that are for romance. We know the Chapman book talks about quality time, acts of service, gift giving, physical touch, and words of affirmation, right?
Yep.
We know what that means, or maybe we don't know what that means. Maybe we got to break that down.
Yeah.
About what those 5 love languages look like. And when it comes to, and I think what we have to touch upon is, it's not always about what our love languages are, but how do we show love to people who might have a different love language than us?
Right. Where do you meet that? Where do you bridge? Where do you hit on cross that? You're not actually crossing the bridge. Where do you meet on the bridge? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the 5 love languages, if we got to break them down, we got to give them a nice little cliff notes. So they don't have cliff notes anymore. I don't know.
I don't even know. Do they even call them clips? See, look at you trying to age us together. I'm actually a Gen Z, so we don't have those kind of things. I'm lying. I'm definitely a millennial.
I'm about to say, don't do that. don't be false claiming. Anyway, so acts of service are, doing things for people, not necessarily when they ask, just like, I know you're struggling. So let me just go clean the dishes because I know you had a long day. So let me go do that. Right. Gift giving is different because gift giving is literally, I'm going to buy a gift. I'm going to give it to you. That's one of my love languages, y'all. I love me a good gift. You hear me? And then quality time. Quality time is like, I'm here with you. I'm in this space with you. I'm not on my phone talking to 5 different people or TikToking, or maybe we're not TikToking anymore. I don't know. But, going through reels and all this stuff. Like, I am here and my time with you is intentional. Then we got quality time. I just said that. What did I miss? Physical touch.
You said acts of service.
I did.
Quality time.
Gift giving.
Physical touch. is one, and then I always forget one. No
Words of
matter how many
affirmation. Words
times.
of affirmation. So
Words of and
words of
that's my love
affirmation
language.
is not just puffing somebody up or stroking their ego. That's literally expressing your love for them and how amazing they are and how the world is so much better because they're in it. That's kind of words of affirmation, right?
Yep.
Then physical touch. Physical touch is one of my love languages. I realized it because when I be having a spastic moment, I just like, I just need somebody to hold me down real quick, like literally hold me down because I'd be like, that's besides the point. So that's what it looks like for romance.
Yep.
Miss Tanya, can you break it down on what that looks like for friendship? Like, what is a friendship love language?
Okay, yeah. So friendship love languages, it's not like it's that much different because if you really think about a your relationships, right? All of relationships start in the same way. You kind of like it's how do you show up? How are you engaging, right? The person. So those 5 love languages are still the same in friendship. You're just not gonna be, if it's physical touch, you're not kissed. I mean, I guess some people like to kiss their friends. That's your business.
It's the eyes for me, but yeah.
That's your business. But like, physical touch could just be that, you see your friend going through something, that physical touch is their thing, and you just hold their hand. That's it. They're not even looking for nothing else. Physical, it could be that words of affirmation. You know that there's that one friend that no matter what is going on in your life, right? You could be having a whirlwind and you call this one friend and the whole thing begins to calm. Your everything that was a whirlwind, all of the storm that you was in, it's not that you become that you're in the eye of the storm, because then that's fake.
Right.
But your whole storm just stops and it clears just because you now talk to this person and they've filled your cup with words of affirmation. They've like validated you. I have a friend like that it's not even that I'm looking for her to do it. It's that like I could call her about something and I'm in my own, like she doesn't know we're on the phone, and she will affirm me in a way that I've never felt. And I'm like, oh, that's what I feel like I do that. I feel like that's like she just gave me what I give. And it's like, oh, I appreciate you. Like, because you just validated me and I didn't ask you to do it. Or there's another friend that's just acts of service. They show up, they know that or it could be something positive, right?
Yeah.
You have your, I don't know, let's say, okay, for example, Jermaine, you have your event that's going on, and that person shows up to every single one of your podcasts. They show up to every single one of your tapings. They ain't missed not one. And even if they're late, they still showed up. That's an act of service. They just showed up for you, and you didn't look for them to show up. They just did it.
Yeah.
They just did it. Or there's a friend that is a gift giver. Now, maybe the gift doesn't have to be a monetary gift, right? They're just giving you of all of the things. Like that gift giver is like, ooh, so you just fed my soul. You just bought my soul a gift, and I don't even know how to repay you for the soul gift that you just gave me, friend.
Right.
How did you even know to do that?
Mm-hmm.
It could be that. It can be, I don't know what I'm missing. I said words of affirmation. I always forget them, but I
Words
know
of
them.
affirmation, quality time, physical touch, gift giving, and Lord, we should write this down.
Why did we? I mean, I did write it down. I took my little notes. I just, I don't want to keep
Words
going
of
back.
affirmation, physical touch, quality time, gift giving, acts of service.
Oh, did I not say acts of service? I think I done said all 5 then.
You
So at
probably
the
did.
end of the day, friendship is about understanding, because I wrote this down. It's about understanding, about showing up, about making the people in your life feel seen, valued,
Mm-hmm.
and appreciated.
That's it.
That's the same thing you want in an intimate relationship,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And all of them,
Mm-hmm.
we're all worthy of all of them. And so, yes, there's, with those love languages in friendship, what we tend to do in friendships, like, look, you meet a new friend, or it is harder in our adult life to, like, because the walls of
Talk
life,
about it. Talk about it.
the walls of life, as
Mm-hmm.
one of the individuals said, the walls of China are up, and they're long, and
Mm-hmm.
it's built strong.
Mm-hmm.
So but you still want to, because the younger parts of you, the parts of you that's still childlike, it's okay, you still want to be able to have a friend. And
Sure.
so, when you're making these new friends, when you're in these new friendships, especially in adult life, you find yourself, either you instantly click with somebody, or you don't. And so, what do you do? Like, okay, so that's one aspect. But then what about those friendships that you've had for decades, right? You and that person been friends for forever, but y'all never talked about your actual need in your friendship. It's like, oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this person's supposed to know because we've known each other for so long. You should know that when I'm having a long day, I don't need you to say nothing to me. I just need you to hold my hand.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Right? Like, it should just, you're like, no, this should be common sense. Or the
Mm-hmm.
other person's like, well, after 15 years of being friends with me, you should know that if I'm having some type of event, or I'm doing something that's important to me, that I don't need you to buy me a dang thing. I just need you to be there. Even if you're late, I don't care that you're late. Just show up, because
Yeah.
that's all that matters to me.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens
Mm-hmm.
is that doesn't happen. That's what happens. And some friendships, yeah, they do. But there
Mm-hmm.
are some friendships where maybe you're growing apart, or maybe you're hitting different plateaus in your friendship, the ebbs and flows of the relationship, and
Mm-hmm.
you didn't have that conversation.
Right. Right.
You've
Right.
never had the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's when the crossroad happens, because you're like, oh, wait a minute, are we actually friends? What part of our friendship is a friendship?
Yeah.
What part of me are you friends with? Wait,
Ooh, that's a
are
good.
you friends with the acts
That's
of
good.
service friend?
That's good. That's good.
Are you friends with the acts of service friend?
That's good.
Because the quality time friend needs you. And that's where my love language sits. Not literally,
Mhm.
I'm actually acts of service, but you know, the quality time friend actually needed you right now. And you showed up with no love.
Mhm.
What?
Mhm.
We're crossing a bridge. We're
Yeah, I
crossing
think
the bridge.
I think we should make it very, very clear, right? There's a difference between how I receive love. Like I said, I had a a best friend for 23 years and my current best friend now. The moment I realized that my current best friend was my best friend is this man came all the way from Maryland to come see me preach. I couldn't get people who live 2 blocks down the street to come see me preach. But this man hopped on a bus with his best friend at the time, strolled all the way down to Brockton, Massachusetts to come see me, and then hopped on the bus like literally the next day. And I was like,
Mhm.
see, now that's dedication, because that showed me like, and we weren't even friends that long at that point, but he was like, I'm so dedicated to support you. I'm going to show up. And literally since then he has shown up, you know what I mean? But what I realized, so the one that I had, the best friend I had for 23 years, and him, I used to call them twins. I'm like, them people, they think alike, they thought alike, they acted alike. It was really annoying. And I used to get so frustrated with them because I'm like, y'all don't love me. I don't feel like y'all love me. And they're like, Jermaine, what are you talking about? Like, obviously we do. You know what I mean? But it was because what they were loving me based off of their love languages, and I wasn't receiving it because it wasn't my love language, right? So it was very difficult. And it wasn't until a few years ago where they're like, all right, so clearly we need to get Jermaine some gifts, and clearly she need to be hugged a lot, or elbows rubbing together or something. And so Now that they did, I was like, see, they do love me. And they're like, Jermaine, we always did. But it's like I didn't feel it because it wasn't in the love language that I'm able to receive it in. And I feel like when we don't understand these differences, we lose friends, we lose connections, we lose a lot of stuff because people don't feel loved. And it's like, I do love you. I just need to know how you receive love. Right? So like if I speak English and you speak French Creole, like I can talk to you all day long. You're gonna be like, girl, I don't know what you're saying. Like it went over my head, right? Because we're not speaking the same language. So in order for me, if I cared enough, I'd be like, let me learn some French Creole. Let me hop on this phone and do that little translator thing because I want what I have to say for you to receive it. But I don't know if a lot of people do that these days.
So what the problem is that people don't. So it's called reciprocation. That's reciprocate. So your love languages can be completely different.
Mm-hmm.
But how are you reciprocating that energy? Because it's still about a receive and a give and receive. And so it goes back to feeling seen, feeling valued, and feeling appreciated. Now, if you're having conversations and the depth of the conversations, and you're having these deep conversations with each other, and you're expressing, whether it be I don't know, I'm trying to think of a situation. So I'm expressing to you like, yeah, I've dealt with abandonment, I've dealt with domestic violence. And, in order for me to feel loved, I need to know that I feel seen and heard. And in order for me to feel seen and heard is knowing that you're going to show up for me no matter what at all times. And I don't ever have to question your loyalty because I am loyal to my soul, like in my soul, like it's a loyal, you'll like, in my mind, you'll never meet a more loyal person. There's a lot of loyalty in a lot of people, but in my mind, for me, when I think of Tanya, I'm a loyal person. So therefore that is the part of me that will be reciprocated no matter what. So you'll feel, oh man, like Tanya goes in, I need to return that's where it needs to be a return. And so I feel like as we've gotten older in our relationships, they become more intentional about the friendships that you have. And so I'm in this realm of having these new relationships, these new friendships. And because I was intentional, and like really beginning to embrace myself and embrace my own emotions. And because I've learned to deeply love me first, right? The boundaries become different. So now I'm not looking at the boundaries that I have for you. I'm thinking about the boundaries I have for myself. And so I'm not going to disrespect myself anymore and break my own boundary anymore.
That's good.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to break my boundary anymore. I'm going to tell you, hey, yeah, I didn't really like that. I didn't like that. You made me feel like this. And now it's your turn to tell me, well, this is how, my apologies. And I don't say sorry to people. I say I apologize. Because if I'm sorry, that means really, and just, I'm telling you I'm sorry for the act, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to do it again. So I apologize. Because when you apologize, you're taking ownership and accountability for the things. And this is just how I view it. You're taking accountability for whatever it is that you did to make that other person feel some kind of way or feel hurt by something you did. So I apologize. And then I say my side. Yeah. So it's like, when you're in these friendships, are you both receiving or reciprocating that deeper level of understanding of the person? Like at what level are you receiving? Are you with the friendship because of what that person does for you? Or are you with are you in the friendship because of what you do for them? Like, which one are you in it for?
Which is so good, because Miss Ma'am, when you had presented me with this topic, right, and we had our little, I don't think it was little anything, it was a long conversation.
It was.
But I think a lot of people stick around because of longevity purposes, right? They don't realize, like, you start to drift and love my best friend for 23 years. Still to this day, love her regardless of what happened, right? But I think when it's time to say your farewells, it happens, and it's not. And I had to realize it's okay for people to have boundaries, right? Because I hated boundaries. I'm like, what you putting a boundary up like for me? Like I'm nice and I love and I whatever. And it's like, girl, it's okay. They're allowed to have boundaries to protect themselves or whatever, and that's them, and we move on. But then as we were advancing in our conversation, like I think we both had like a little trigger moment because we both said there have been best friendships that we have had, and like the moment they were best friend and give it some time, it was like, oh, there they go, just walking out of our lives. And I was like, well, this is gonna be like a little sensitive topic for me, because literally it just feels like I have friends and then I lose them, and then some replace those ones and then I lose them. I'm just like, what? Like at this point, I'm just like, hey, listen, y'all, if y'all gonna go, you go. I can't try to hold on to people. I can't try to fight for people who are like 1 foot in and 1 foot out these days, you know what I mean? And so when we talk about these love languages, it's realizing, and it sounds cliche, but I think it's true. When you love someone enough, sometimes you love them to the point where you're willing to let them go. And you have to realize maybe it's not a you thing. Maybe they just can't handle it. Because we're Neuro Spicy. And I've been told, Jermaine, you're so extra. You're a lot. You're
girl.
Well, I guess. It is what it is. Like, there's some people who are going to love it. Some people aren't going to love it, but it's like, it is what it is. Like, I'm not going to hold on to you because I've known you for 16 years. I had a very violent friendship. Like, homegirl tried to fight me over some crazy stuff. And I'm like, well, what are we fighting for? Like, the moment you thought it was okay to put your hands on me for whatever reason, you know what I mean? So when you talk about domestic violence, it's like, I get it. Although mine wasn't a romantic thing, it was more a friendship thing. But nonetheless, it's like, that's not love. That's not what friends do. Like, friends love, friends support, friends help heal, friends, uplift, but friends don't hurt. Love doesn't hurt.
Love does not hurt. Love is challenging.
Yo, for sure.
You definitely are choosing to love the person through it all. So it becomes unconditional. And the moment that there's a condition to the love, then you need to let it go. And yes, there are still boundaries.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
That's my thought. That's
pause. My thought. Rewind. Play. Say that again.
Oh. Love is unconditional. The moment that there's conditions on that love, it's time to let it go. The moment that there's conditions, because then it means that the moment there's no filters. Me adding to that would sully it. Love is unconditional. Yeah. And the moment there is conditions to the love, it's time to let it go. And so yes, it's time to let it go. But you also you also said something that's key, right? Love does not hurt. Love is like, yes, it's challenging, but that challenge still feels good. It's not like, it's not that. And the other thing about friendships that people, if you're friends with somebody for real, if they're your friend for real, you should never have to question the motive. The moment you're like that moment that you have about a friend, and you're like, well, why did they say that? Or why did they do that? Well, did you just say you're jealous of me? Why are you jealous? And then you just kind of like, and then it puts this like seed. Yeah. And the seed just continues to grow. And then it just becomes, it
becomes a plague to the relationship that is trying
to eat up everything.
Mm-hmm. So can we also have a discussion about, like, because we understand that not everybody knows what real love looks like. We have
True.
we have people who think love hurts. We have people who think love is manipulation, and
Yep.
it's trying, and it's selfish, and it's all of these other things, you know what I mean? But
Yep.
how do and I get this question all the time as a therapist, but Miss Mental Health Advocate, Miss Mental Health Coach, we're gonna see what your answer is. And y'all, if
Yeah.
you have questions, throw them up in the chat.
Please do.
But how do you teach somebody to love? How do you coach somebody to love correctly? Because we all know the saying, hurt people, right? We forget that healed people can heal people. So
Yep.
you, as a not a survivor, we're not gonna use that word, but someone
Kinda.
who has conquered a very difficult situation, when you learned how to love, how did you teach other people to love and to love you? Because I don't think we know how to do that.
So honestly, so the thing about being, there's no such, and this is my definition. It could be
Mm-hmm.
different for somebody else, but I'm gonna tell you how I feel about the word healed. There's no such thing as being healed. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's me. I feel that. There's no such thing. There's actively healing because you're always evolving, but there's no such thing as being healed. You're never gonna, you can heal from a situation, but at the same time, let's just say you use this the word healed. Um, and then you walk by somebody and you smell something, like you get a smell, a fragrance that's the same, or you get or the a leaf. Guys, hold on, because you're gonna keep seeing me do this, and I'm just gonna point it out.
I'm sorry,
My
y'all.
nails popped off today.
I'm sorry, y'all. Before we hopped on, she was like, I don't know what to do. I was like, yeah, just hide these. And she's
And I was like, I'm just gonna talk like this the whole time because I'm a hand talker. Y'all, do you know the stress? Y'all know the stress. It's two of them, both of them. Anyway, okay,
sorry.
I'm sorry. This is the Neuro Spicy of me.
Oh my God.
I'm too much.
You are just enough, sis. Go ahead.
I'm too much. I was gonna say, but I like my too much. I like being
Period.
extra. I love being the drama. It's me. Okay, but seriously, that is the part of loving. That's how I teach people to love themselves. Like all of that, yes, bruh. All of that is like, that's how you get to understand love, right? It's the first step is love. I can't, I had to be
I was like, I don't want
truthful.
them thinking you throw no gang signs.
Yeah, no, I had to be truthful because I was like, do I talk like this, or do I be like, yeah, girl, and so the whole time, yeah, tribing it out. You know what I'm saying? Like every time I got to talk, do I just
I
do
said you
this?
could just point with one finger.
Yeah, just girl. The whole time I should just been like, and then I still got to hide the thumb because the thumb want to be all in everybody's business. So
Go ahead. Loving people.
you got to love on yourself. So what I was doing, right, is that I went on selfie dates. And
Yeah.
so I learned, I was wondering what was going, girl, because these nails is just business. They just, excuse my French, but they just getting on my last nerve.
Anyway,
I'm
selfie
going
dates.
to the nail salon tomorrow. You know when you talk with your hands all the time, I'm like, yes, and so all I can see is the nail. And so anyways, I would go on selfie I would go on selfie dates, and I went and bought myself things, and like I each one of them love languages, I loved each one down on Tanya. I mean, to a point where it was like, what is going on? I bought myself my own ring. I was like, oh girl, I'm in love with you. Talking to myself in the mirror. I'll be walking by, I'll be like, who is that? Girl, you flew. And I would just like daily, it would be like in the midst of, and this was all in COVID, like what I just had to do it. I had to do it. And so now that I'm in this realm of it, it's like take control of all of those emotions. Like you're upset, you're not really upset. You're not upset. That's just one layer. That's the language that you learned, right? But you're really irritated. You're annoyed. You're frustrated. Oh, it's not like, oh, I feel I'm happy. No, you're not just happy. That's the surface. You feel loved.
That's good.
You feel cared for.
Yeah.
You feel important. It's a different, it's understanding that there's so many other ways, that there's emotion, there's all these different emotions, there's so many that you don't have to describe it in one or two things. It's not one or two things. It's not linear. And loving yourself is not linear. Just like they said, healing is not linear, neither is loving yourself. So it's supposed to be like a tree. It's started off like her tree, You started off, there's the root, and then you build from the root and you go up, and there's the trunk, and then there's the branches, there's the leaves, there's all of those things. And sometimes when the leaves fall off, it's opening up the space for you to love something else.
Come on. That's
okay.
Good. That's
and on that tree, with now you've built out your tree, and I'm a metaphorical person, so I like to paint the picture for you. So you build out the tree, right? The tree now is there, all of those things, and literally I would then have you building out the tree in our workshop. So it would be like, over the process of time, you're like, oh, okay, so why are we putting in roots? What she got me doing? What are we, 5? But you're gonna be coloring and you're gonna like it. So now you put on your root, you put on you put your trunk, you put all the branches, then you put your leaves down, and you're like, okay. And then I'm gonna tell you, well, go ahead and peel some of them leaves off and let it drop at the bottom. Why? Because those are the things you let go of. And what do those things that you let go of do? They turn to nothing, and then they go into where? The roots. And then you're able to grow something new out of it. But as your tree is sitting there and it's like all these beautiful leaves and things have grown, what happens with that is that something comes, which is the new love or the new friend or whatever, and it becomes a little bird. And that bird then comes and brings all of these other little things, and now it's a nest. And now that nest has turned into a little home for them. And then what did they do with that? They built love on top of you.
Yeah.
Now something brand new has sprouted from that. And what is that? New love. And so it's like, it's a whole way of how you're looking at it. And so I just make them like, it's not about what I'm saying to you. It's really about what does your tree look like? Or what is your, I have the jar. I wish I put it right next to me. I'm going to get up and go get it. So I'm going to let you talk a little bit. I'm going to show this one. Oh, hold on. I'm going to show this one, but it's a little jar. And I'm going to get the jar so I can show it to you guys. But it's like, I would say it in a metaphor of a jar, and it's in all of these things of life that's happening. But what are the things that's important to you? And then if they didn't make it into that jar, why are you even on it? Let it go. Let it go and let the other things give space for the other things to grow. And that's like that first step is about loving yourself. Like you do have to actually be infatuated with you. And then that infatuation with yourself, the person that comes in, like for my husband, right? When he met me, we were friends, platonic. He met me in my worst. And he's the one who showed me how to meditate. He's a Rastafarian, and he knows about all the crystals and, which one will change the energies and, all of that. He showed me all of that. And in our friendship, he seen where I was. He didn't want nothing from me but to just be my friend,
Mm-hmm.
like in my worst, and then
Mm-hmm.
see me progress on my own into the best part of me, where I felt like it was the best part of me. And then we were still friends in this whole time. But the admiration I had for him just showing up, listening,
Mm-hmm.
making me feel seen and appreciated, but didn't want anything from me. And that was the first man in my life that didn't want anything from me. And so it was like, oh, you love me like I love me. I don't want it. He didn't want anything from me. And
Mm-hmm.
our friendship bloomed from there, and it just organically turned into me and him dating. And then organically turned into my kids loving him and calling him dad. And organically, all of it was just organic, and it happened like I
Yep.
wasn't looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I took the first step, and that was loving on Tanya,
Mm-hmm.
appreciating myself, making myself feel seen, making myself feel valued. And then the person that came in was like, okay, well, she's infatuated with herself. I'm gonna have to just be a little bit more infatuated with her than she is with herself. And
Mm-hmm.
he knows that. And he knows, like, even right now, as much as I love him, I'm deeply in love with myself first. So
Yep.
yes, you here with me and I love you down, sir. But you know, like I know, yeah, she's in love with herself.
And
And
that's needed because people learn how to love you based on how you love yourself, right? So like if you don't love yourself, people are like, oh, she don't care about herself. And depending on the person you're interacting with, they're like, oh, I can play with that. Those insecurities, I can play with that. That low self-esteem, I can play with that. And it's like, first of all, hold on. I love myself enough to realize, and I was thinking about this in the car on the way back from the other pod thing that I was recording. And, you know, I said this all the time and I heard it before. They're like, you see commercials for Hondas, you see commercials for Fords, you see commercials for all of these other cars. You ain't never seen like a Tesla, you ain't never seen like a Lamborghini. Why? Because they know what they're worth. They're like, I know what I'm about. And the people who can afford me know where to find me, right? I don't need to try to appeal to everybody. And I thought about my younger self, and child, my younger self was like, do y'all see me? Hello, do you see me? And it was just like, girl, not only are you looking desperate, you're looking real needy and real like not together. And it wasn't until I started to love myself enough to be like, actually, I'm pretty dope. Yeah, I'm a little weird. Yeah, I'm neuro spicy. Yeah, I'm a little quirky. Yeah, I do big colors and big nails and big hair and whatever, you know. And it's like, but that's me. And for the
mm-hmm.
longest time, I avoided my authentic self because I was like, ain't nobody gonna find this crazy lady not just attractive, but yet alone someone that I can chill with, not just romantically, but like friendships, like people who want to stay around and people who are like, she a little crazy, but I like it. She a little extra, but I like it. And she keeps things lively and fun, right? I never thought people can do that. It wasn't until I started loving myself where I started getting these compliments of people like, oh my gosh, she's so confident. I said, who? Me? No. We working on it. To God be the glory. We're working on it. I'm not confident. I just love myself enough to be like, I'm gonna stop apologizing for who I am. So when I step outside of these doors, I'm gonna be me. Will people talk about me? Yeah, people gonna talk about me whether I'm doing it right, whether I'm doing it wrong, whether I'm doing it according to you, because your like is different from someone else's like. So I was like, instead of me trying to work and people please y'all, I'ma love me, and that's when I found my tribe, right? Like Neuro
Yes.
Spiciness and the like my best friend, we both weird. You hear me? Like we was salsa dancing in a gas station just because like salsa music was playing.
Fun
Who
times.
in the world need two when we big black? Like he's 6'2", 6'1", something. And I'm big too. And you got two big brown folk salsa
I
dancing
cannot.
in a gas station. But it's like you don't find your tribe until you say, like, I may be different, but I love me. And
Yep.
because I love me, I will attract people that will also love me.
Yep.
So it's like be your authentic self. and learn to love yourself, because that's how people will learn to love you, you know?
Yes.
So,
Yes. I 100% agree.
yeah.
And, right,
Hmm.
always show up as yourself. Doesn't matter who, when, where, what you're doing. When you show up
Hmm.
as yourself, people are like, "Oh, okay." You're not just saying not only like I love me, but it's also saying I don't care if you don't love me this way. I do. And so now that you know that I love me like this, you're going to have to accept this cuz if you don't love me, what? I know you like me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't pretend. You can't pretend that you don't like me.
It's the shimmy for me.
Just a little light one. I've really enjoyed this conversation
Of
immensely.
course. I listen, this is why I had to have you on, because I was like, yeah, she gets it. And
100%.
we talked to a lot. I talked to a lot of people in our field. We talked to a lot of people. Okay. And there are some people who might be a little neuro spicy, and it's like, I can't put you on a live podcast because you might say some crazy stuff. But like, not only did you have a story of, not surviving, conquering a thing, like domestic violence is not something you can easily conquer. Domestic violence, it takes a toll on your mental, your psyche, your body, how you view yourself, how you view other people. You get triggered up the wazoo, like you can't smell
Yeah.
pancakes because dude used to go crazy at breakfast time, and all the things that come with it, right? But to conquer that, find self-love again, to find romantic love, to find friendship love, whether it comes and goes or it sticks around or whatever. Your people will come, your tribe will come, right? To now empowering other ladies to be like, listen, we're going to
And
find
then,
out. And
and then,
men, and
because
men.
men experience domestic violence and they also
They
don't know how to
do.
talk about their emotions at all because they're told that they need to be strong all the time. And not everybody's strong all the time. There's no such thing. Sometimes you want to have a moment to just vomit of the mouth.
Absolutely. Because we all need it. And I said that during the other podcast I was recording today. I was like, Black man, you matter. Black man, you are an amazing asset to life. And
Yes.
if you need to emote, you emote. That is not a weakness, that is a strength, because
Yep.
it's vulnerability is a strength, because it means I'm willing to bring my walls down and trust another
Yep.
person.
Yep.
That's not easy. Weak people aren't willing to bring walls down and trust another person with self, right?
Yep.
So the fact that, he was able to do that, and I'm like, do that more. Find a safe space. If you don't have one, come holler at me, y'all, because I'm all about safe spaces. Do that. You know what I mean? Because they need to know, men need to know, whether it's Black, white, Asian, French, whatever, they need to know that these narratives of being a strong man and man up and da la la and men don't cry, be done with it. Let's break
Black
that.
is in propaganda.
It's stupid, is what it is.
Yes.
And it's okay to emote, because it don't make sense that women can emote all day, every day, and men are just like, and we wonder why they get so aggressive and they lash out and they be cussing up a storm. It's like, I would be doing the same
What
thing.
other emotion can they? What else are they supposed to do?
That's the only emotion that's acceptable in a man's world, is aggression. And it's like, well, we just need to do better, guys. Anywho, so at the end of every episode, we talk about what it means to be an inimitable, although we were talking about that throughout the whole entire thing. What so I like to bring up the fact that what an inimitable is, because a lot of people like, I don't even know what that is. Inimitable is something that is so unique it is impossible to duplicate, right? And so when I thought about this, it's like the Neuro Spicy, the black sheeps of the world, we need to have a tribe and we need to have a safe space. And this is exactly what it is. So if you were to encourage anyone who maybe is suffering with low self-esteem, suffering with currently in a domestic violence situation, or like transitioning out of one and overcoming, surviving, conquering, all of the words, what would your words be to them? for encouragement.
Sure. It's something that I say in all of my sessions, before, after, during, at the end of the workshops. And so for the individuals that may be experiencing domestic violence, for the individuals that are experiencing trauma, for the individuals that, sometimes your high is super high and your lows are lower than low. I want you to always remember that you are enough. Even in the moments that you don't feel like you are enough, you have always been enough. So don't let any situation that's in front of you or on the sides of you or even behind you make you think, believe, or even ponder the thought that you're not. You have always been enough. And just leave with one thought, if nothing else, that you remember from Tanya today. That one, you are enough. And two, positive thoughts bring positive reactions. Whatever you speak into the universe or God has no choice but to give it back to you. So be intentional with your words and love on yourself.
Come on. That's so good. And, thank you for being transparent, because I literally was thinking about this as well. I'm like, I have a lot of amazing people on my pods that come on, and when I say they share unapologetically, I appreciate it, because your stuff is now on the World Wide Web, and I thank you for that, because you never know who's going to come across this. You never know who's going to see this and be like, wow, if she can make it, I can make it. And her story sounds just like mine. And she's so beautiful, and she's so elegant, and she's so poised and Neuro Spicy. And we love that. And now I know that I can give myself permission to do the same. That's up here on this thing up here. Give yourself permission, y'all, because we all deserve to heal, and we all deserve to experience life outside of survival mode. Like we don't have to survive all the time. At some point, we can actually live on purpose with intention. So thank you guys for coming, whether you're watching this live.
I'm going to just plug myself real quick before you go ahead and say that y'all can find me on Instagram.
I was going to give you that moment. Oh, best believe. I was just doing my little best believe.
Both of them is here. It's right there. The name is right there. Go ahead and come to me. Follow me. Let's be friends.
Creative Hues is on IG, Creative Hues. And then you are on what other?
I'm on TikTok, but don't nobody care about TikTok because they're liars.
So Creative Hues, find her if you need access and you forget about whatever. Y'all hit me up and I will definitely direct you to her. So again, y'all, thank y'all for coming. So next week, I'm so excited. I'm gonna have my baby. He's not a baby, he's an adult. But the first person to call me auntie, my baby, my nephew, my first nephew, my brother's namesake, is coming on. And he was like, auntie, I'm ready. Auntie, I feel like I can say something. And I was like, so if y'all think I'm giddy now, just wait, because that's my baby. You hear me? Anyway, Darnell Jr. will be here next week, 7 p.m. Y'all come in and join. Share this. Share any episode that you see. Share this one. Show up for my nephew next week, y'all. Set your calendars. Set your alarms. I need y'all to be there, not just because he's my nephew, but because he is a young man who is trying to make it in this world. And he feels like he has something to share that can connect the generations, because Lord knows we need it. All right. So y'all have a blessed night. Do not click off. As you guys know, there is an outro video. Y'all watch it. Look for the information, because when I say we going to work, Jermaine is going to work. Okay. All right, y'all. Bye. Hey guys, Jermaine here. Thank you for watching this episode. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Listen, I am looking to transition everything to my YouTube channel. It is youtube.com/@AFCCS77. Go there, go subscribe, and let your people know, because a lot of my content is already on there. I have a series called Black Man Heal series that was great. I Am series is on there. Join the Fight series is on there. And now this Inimitable podcast is on there. So all of the content that I've been putting together for the past, I don't know, year and a half, it's all on there. So please go check it out. Also, after this, there's going to be a flyer that's talking about Jermaine's ready to go to work, okay? Mentoring young people and young adults between the ages of 14 and 26. I'm really trying to do that more. So if you know any programs and churches that have some young people that need mentorship and need group counseling, let me know. We can talk, we can contract, we can partner, and maybe doing more podcast episodes. I'm just ready to get in there. So again, go to YouTube. I will see you later. Check out this flyer. All right, bye.